What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I realized it has been well over a year since we've done any projects or even had the four-door on the channel, which is a shame because this is the baby of the channel, the reason I started making all of these YouTube videos. So in this video, we're gonna check it out and also kind of catch you guys up to speed with everything that's going on here in the shop. And we're gonna start off with this cool little plaque over on the Race Jeep. So I got this the other day from Brian Trotter himself. This is our third place 4,500 plaque from the race out at Crossbar. It's an Ultra 4 regional race. And I'm excited about this because this is the first time we've actually won anything racing. And while it was third place, hey, I'll take it. Now the race didn't go exactly how we planned because clearly the Race Jeep's missing a front axle. This Jeep's been a ton of work. The silver LJ, we did a bunch of interior work. So all these other Jeeps are just taking all the attention away from the four-door, but we will get back to it. So we won third place. What we're doing now, or one of today's projects, is gonna be milling out this diff cover. So this is a DIY diff cover from Undercover Fabworks for a Dynatrac HD60. It's all welded together, but I gotta run over to Mike's and mill out the welds here so the bolts have a nice flat place to sit. I don't have a mill, so we're gonna hop in the four-door and run over to Mike's. But what is this diff cover for? Well, it's our new Race Jeep axle. This is a one-of-a-kind axle, and there's a very long backstory behind it. But we have a Dynatrac XD60 center section with a mix of East Coast Gear Supply and Advanced Driveline parts. So we're still running the 4-inch tubes, Reed knuckles, Reed C's, 1550 shafts, 40 spline 4-inch tubes. But this axle is a result of companies merging and working with each other. And I'm pretty sure this is one of the first ones like this. This is probably the strongest Dynatrac 60 out there on the market. So we'll talk more about that later. First things first, let's go mill out this diff cover so we can start moving along with that project. And also, it's been a while since I've driven this on the street, so I'm excited to see how it's gonna do on the way to Mike's house. It feels like every video that I've made recently, I mentioned that I have to do an alignment on my steering wheel. I don't remember this one being off. So that tells me that I might have damaged something the last time we took this wheeling. I think the last time this was on the trails was with Carrie and Paul from Discover 4x4 Adventures. And we went up and did a few parks here in Oklahoma. And that's where the steering overflowed and caught on fire. But this thing is just so fun to drive. You can drive it easy with the Hemi Swap, you know, just accelerate and have some good gas mileage. Ignore all the dummy lights on there. But you can drive it easy, or you can just, you know, romp on it if you want to. Forgot how nice this thing is. Our AC works. We're on the low setting right now. It's 83 out. We do have there's a little bit of a rattle coming from back there. I changed out the tailgate panel recently. It almost sounds like that is what's rattling. We'll park here. Alrighty. Oh boy, we're gonna lose the bolt. Cool thing is that the Dynatrac axle has less bolt holes, but it uses a humongous bolt. This is a 7/16. This is actually what like the Jeep uses now. The aftermarket drive shaft uses 4 of these to hold our drive shaft flange to our transfer case. So we have a bunch of bolts. These are very thick, nice and strong. Normally your diff cover bolts are like 5/16 or 3/8, but everything's flexed out. Clearances are all good as always, and this was in 2-wheel drive. Hubs weren't locked. Got the Grizzly locker in the rear, so it's pretty much like a spool in situations like this. But Mike's bringing the side-by-side over. We're gonna boogie down to the shop over there and start milling out this diff cover. The one thing I found out recently, I guess it's been a while, I'm late to the news, but these fenders are MCE flares. Apparently they are not a thing anymore, so I don't know when that went down, what happened. I really did like their flares. The Race Jeep switched over to the KBD. They're have a thicker look to them, different style polyurethane, but It is sad to hear that MCE is no longer more. They made great products, great people, and you know, I've had these on for years now. It's been a while. They've taken many abrasions and hits and love and rub and trees and rocks, and they just keep going. So I've been happy with them. Unfortunate to hear of them going. However, if you're looking for, you know, a similar style flare that's plastic, can deflect, doesn't transfer impacts and forces into the body, I would suggest checking out KBD body kits. KBD body kits, yeah. They make Irvin, he makes really good stuff, and it lasts. So I'm gonna leave the Jeep here. I think all the high schoolers have already went to lunch, so nobody's gonna come by and try to tip it. One thing that's been on my list for quite a while is to raise our rear track bar bracket up higher. Just kind of help with the roll center, instant center. Oh man, I have an EBAP fitting that broke off. Man, that held on with JB Weld for, I guess that was about 3 years. That finally, it doesn't even reach anymore. What's the story behind that? That's another issue we're gonna have to tackle. So we milled out all of the holes on the diff cover. Everything bolts up very nicely with our 12.7/16 bolts. As you can tell, it's on the axle. There's a few more things that we have to do to this diff cover before we pull it off and actually machine the base flat from all this welding that is going to warp, distort a little bit. We still need to go through and weld on our hydro assist mounts on the diff cover right here. Since we're doing that, don't want this to vibrate free, so eventually after we get to our truss, we're going to do a truss to diff cover tie-in, and planning on building like a little differential rock basher down here with removable legs. And that's gonna tie into the diff as well. So there's a lot more welding that we need to do on it. Waiting on the brackets to come in, tack those up, mock everything up, and then build a truss that's gonna tie into these posts right here. So I made these, it's a flat plate with a dowel pin that sits in there. And the plan is to build a truss bridge that goes over. We're gonna cut the holes out and weld these posts in, so it's theoretically, you know, it's bolted down, so it ties the diff into the steel tubes. Long story short about that, but moving over to the JK, I've got a few projects I wanna knock out. I've had these A-pillar brackets on the Jeep for 5 years now. These were in Virginia, so 5 or 6 years. If not more than that. Man, I'm getting old, I think. Hell, man, okay, maybe these are like 7 or 8 years old. But all they were like a light bar bracket, cut off, painted, and I used them as, you know, tree bashers, limb deflectors, rock protection, all to save the windshield, and it's worked. But I am curious what's built up behind here. Hopefully no rot. So we're gonna pull these off because we have new mounts for our Baja Design Squadrons from Dirt HQ. Now these are carbon fiber, like reinforced, 3D printed. These are specifically designed for the Baja Design Squadrons, and the JK really tucks them up in there nice. The issue is I went to go loosen this up, and this Allen head screw is saying it's already had its home, he's not coming out. So it's an issue with these dissimilar metals, and then they also use Loctite and those little grabber star head washers. So that thing is on there. I think the best way to try to even salvage this is to take this off completely, remove our light assembly, and hopefully either drill this out or get some vice grips to get that out of there. These things were always really neat, powder coated, you know, and it has a conical washer in there, so it gives it a really nice flush look. Unfortunately, Route 66 Mods is no longer around. And I don't even know if you can get these anywhere else. I'll do some digging, and if I find them, I'll put a link in the video description. Don't forget to check your U-joints for any play. Let's see what's hiding under here. Ooh. Ah, honestly, it's not. Oh no, I forgot I dented that. Man, when did that happen? So I guess there is a story that I forgot about. I think that's why I put them on there. Yeah. Oh, that's slick. But the other side's pretty boogered up, so I'm gonna focus on this side that's fresh. I'm gonna hit it with a heat gun, hopefully melt some of that Loctite. Just don't want to melt the lens or any of the internal pieces or the powder coat. It doesn't help that. What is this? This is a 4mm. That fits sloppy. 5/30 seconds. That's a sloppy fit too. That's almost even worse. Watch this whole time it's been 3/16 and I'm just a dummy. Yeah, see, no way. Like 3/16 or 5mm is what these need to be. I'm going to need a better pair of vice grips for this job. I've managed to get one out so far. I welded a nut onto one. It backed out a few hairs, then broke, which is this side. Luckily, that loosened up the backside enough to get my wrench on there and get it out. It's all stripped. This is the side that initially was welded, so I'm just going in it. I'm gonna drill it out and hopefully see if we can use an easy out. Looks like welding is not the way. I think we finally have success. Drilled it all the way through. We'll grab our easy out bit. It started moving, so I figured I'd have to come grab the camera. That is what success looks like. That's also what corrosion looks like. So both of our light pods are installed, everything works. Managed to get everything back together with new screws, new hardware, and we are good to go. But next up, I want to pull the front tires off, put it on jack stands with our DIY alignment plates, see how far our toe is off, if it's off at all, and go through and center the steering wheel and just take a look at everything under there. Well, my toe alignment is actually right on the money. So up front here, we're reading 75 3/8. And we want a little bit of toe in, so we want this back measurement to be about an 1/8 larger. Let's see, we're hooked. And right here, 75 and half. So we are good on our toe. Everything else looks solid up here. Pinion angle, let's see. Can't really see, but it's 86.6, so we'll say 86.5. Take that out of 90, that's 3.5. Take that out of 10 for our caster. That's 6.5 for our caster, plus our ball joint deletes, which gave us another degree. So probably got 7 degrees of caster. We definitely could bump it up. It really depends on where you line it up. I'm reading 7. Well, everything checks out, so I think a simple adjustment of our tie rod will do. So we'll grab a crow's foot and break these jam nuts free. Somehow, the only crow's foot missing out of my entire kit is the 1 1/4 inch, which is what we have on our drag link here. So, croc power. During the test drive, we noticed that our steering wheel needed to be turned to the left or to driver. So we're gonna look at our pitman arm here, and we are gonna move our pitman arm to driver. So we're gonna lengthen this. We're gonna first see which way is which. So we were right here. This way is turning the pitman arm out. Come over here to the Jeep. See how much movement that made. Not enough yet. We were turning it up. Now a lot of the times when you're adjusting this, you'll come over here and it'll look perfect, and then you go hit the road and it's way overshot. And some of that is because when you're turning it, it might also be adjusting the tire. Turns are actually changing the knuckle opposed to the steering box. So you gotta make sure it's only moving the steering wheel. So we're gonna leave it there for now. Next time we go on a drive, see if it's where we need it. The last thing that this Jeep needs is, like I mentioned earlier, a rear raised track bar bracket. So I actually have this from Barnes 4-Wheel Drive. It's part of their 14-bolt swap truss kit for the JK. And I was running one of their original kits way early on, and this was the bracket they first started with, and this is the new one. So we get much higher mounting spots once this is welded on. It keys into the truss and everything. But I think this is going to deserve its own video. Not only are we gonna cut this out, raise it up, but we might have to make a custom track bar here at home, because this is the Clayton Off-Road rear JK track bar, and see it has that big triangle piece in there. If we raise this up at bump, I'm wondering if that's gonna get into the cross member or anything else important in there. If we're not doing this, I think that's probably gonna be the end of the video, guys. I just wanted to do a few projects on the JK. There are more projects coming, but my main goal is to get this axle back in the race Jeep so we can get this off the lift so it isn't taking up the most valuable spots. But I'm waiting on brackets. Like I said, the upper 3-link mount and the track bar bracket are both from Ballistic Fabrication for 4-inch tubes. Unfortunately, they're back ordered, which I didn't know when I placed the order, so hopefully they'll be here any day now. That is it for this video. As always, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let me know down in the comments what videos you guys want to see next. We'll see you later.